Hi all. Right, welcome to a new playthrough. I've decided on Labyrinth, the War and Terror, 2001 2 question mark. This just came at the last minute, to be honest. Like my decision to play this, I was going to play Atlantic Chase, and I'd been reading through the rules, messing about with that and whatever, and just at the last few days, this last week leading up to this weekend, which I've got a couple of days where I should be able to get a bit done. That's why I've been sort of saving it up till then. I decided to change my mind, go with this. Now, I've thought about maybe setting up Atlantic Chase on the table behind. That doesn't mean removing my enemy action or den playthrough, which it didn't seem to have get back to. I mean, that's almost a year. It's been it's been sitting there, about 8 or 9 months without anything happening, I think. And then I started thinking, well, maybe you should go back and sit and play that. You know, you do enjoy that game. It's one of your favourite games. Why not? I'm sure if I sat down again, I'd be able to get it going. I suppose you just like to bring in new things. You know, I mean, I've played that a couple of times before. I've recorded it as well. Any action or den, you know. Did I need to do another playthrough? I suppose it was this sort of anniversary and my birthday and whatever, and thought it was a good idea. And then, you know, it's not that I got fed up with it. It's just there's new things that come about, and you want to have a shot at them. You know, ended up, I can't remember. Was it just the other side of the hill that took over from it? It might have been, because that was quite a long playthrough, wasn't it? As most of my playthroughs are, and this will be the same. This will be long. So I don't know. I might switch between this and either have another go at enemy action or den allied solo, or I might set up an Atlantic Chase on that other table and maybe see which one I'm preferring between that and this, to see which sort of takes priority. There's risk to that as well, though. That means the other one might just sit and not get played and get abandoned, but which I've done a few times, which annoys me because it's something I never wanted to do, was like start a playthrough and then not complete it. But I've been guilty of that a few times now, unfortunately. I did think about taking the videos down, in particular taking them off of BGG, the ones that I've not completed, because it's a bit naughty to have things out there like that and then you've not finished it. But anyway, so I think I'm going to go with this to get started anyway. This is the base game. I've had it for a number of years, this game. That's the third printing I've got of it, so probably got that when it was released. I think it's up to its fifth printing now, maybe. So maybe I obviously didn't get it when it first released, and that's got 2016 on it, which might have been when it was released. Now I only started playing board games round about that time. I think I've not been into the hobby for that long. It was maybe a year or so before that, maybe 2014 or 15 or something. Anyway, so I played this a couple of times, and I haven't recorded it before. Liked it, really quite liked it. I liked it enough to get the Awakening expansion, which is, it does add quite a lot of new rules, and gives you another deck of cards, new cards with new events and whatever. And I played only, I think I only had one shot at that, but it was good as well. And then again, you just, that many other things to play. So I thought I'd play the base game and use this as well. Now this brought about a new bot as well when it came out, and I assume it's more detailed and it's a better bot. So I'm going to use the new bot. You can use the new bot even if you're just playing the base game. It's backwards compatible with that. I'm going to introduce this as well. But however, I thought, why not get the latest? Well, I say the latest expansion. It's been out a little while now as well. So that's Labyrinth Awaken. You can see that's 2010 to question mark. Well, I just ordered this week, and I thought, why not get this? It's not expensive, because again, it's just basically the rule book. There's a couple of counters, and it's another deck of 120 cards, so with new events. So this is Labyrinth: The Forever War 2015 to question mark. So just got that recently as well. And then when I was looking, hang on. So this is Awakening. And by the way, I'll put a comment in the header. This video, I imagine it might go to an hour plus. I'm pretty sure it'll just be set up and talking about things. But I'll put a comment on that in the header in case anybody's not interested in that. Anyway, so I noticed this is the campaign game that you get with Awakening, and it says, as you can see there, this scenario is for those who would like to have their game begin post 9/11, which is when the base game starts. It's just post 9/11, just after 9/11, so it says, and then continue through the Arab Spring and the period of civil wars, which is what the Awakening entails. This will provide a perspective on how the Muslim world changed during these time periods, as well as the level of focus of Western commitment over time. It also makes for good use as an instructional game as history searching tool, game as history searching tool. Yeah. Okay. So, and what you do with this? Where does it tell you? Yeah. Well, it's just the next bit, Grant. So you set up the let's roll scenario, which is the main scenario in the base game, or any of the other scenarios, but that's the one I'll be setting up. And then the game length is 2 decks. And what you do is you use one deck using the Labyrinth War on Terror, the base game. And then you use the deck, the second deck uses the Awakening cards. Now, it says there, because I can't remember, I don't know, it says that when you set up the Awakening, you blend it as the Arab Spring scenario. And I had a look at that, and it means that you basically seed the deck in 2 halves, I think. So that deck is seeded in 2 halves, mixed together. But I think there's certain cards that will go. 60 of the cards will go in one half of the deck. 60 of the cards will go in the first half and the second half. So I thought that might be quite a good idea. Then when I got the Forever War expansion, I thought, right, what does that do? Well, you can get an extended campaign game. So. And this is using all 3, the base game and both expansions, and that says exactly the same as what we just read there. And basically that almost says the same as well. However, it says use it in 3 decks. Game length is 3 decks. 1 deck using the Labyrinth cards, the base deck, followed by 1 using the Awakening cards, and then as blended again with the Arab Spring. So I'm assuming that means that we seed the deck in 2 halves, and then followed by 1 deck of Forever War. So the cards are never shuffled. It says it will take approximately 20 turns. It's going to take a long time. I'm sure this playthrough will be long. Now, as I noticed I was looking through some of the comments, and somebody had played this way, but they played against an opponent. I'm playing solo, this is just solo for me, as always. But they found that it didn't really play out very well for certain reasons, and it slightly put me off a little bit at first. Then I seen some other comments saying that people have done this and quite enjoyed it, and then I thought, well, I'm only playing solo as well. We're going to be using the bot to control one of the sides, I thought we'll try that. So I'm guessing it's going to take quite a bit of time because it's 3 decks, 1 of each deck, and I assume you play the base game without it does tell you there when things get added. It's when we go into the Awakening expansion. See, it says Awakening expansion rules: play a raid, end the turn sequence, commence with the first card draw from deck 2, because that's when the rules change a bit with Awakening. As for the Forever War, there are some rule changes, but not an awful lot, to be honest. So it's just a new deck of cards, new events that are going to do different things. There are a couple of changes. So thought I'd go with that. Now I'm going to play as the US. I did think about it maybe because the base game only catered. The bot side of things, solo game only catered for you playing as the US and not playing as the jihadists. It was probably, this is quite, a lot of the things in this game are going to be quite close, and it didn't happen that long ago, so maybe quite fresh in some people's minds. Maybe people have had family and friends involved in some things that are not so good in this game, terrorist activities and all that, and you know, I think when they brought the game out, they maybe didn't want to sort of like have you able to play, you know, and the solo side of things. The thing is, if you're playing it 2-player, somebody's got to play the jihadists in the game. I mean, to me, it's a game. All these things happened in history as well, you know. I mean, a lot of things bad, yeah, a lot of bad things, but it's a game. Same as playing World War II stuff. If you're playing the German side and whatever, I mean, I think there are some things that you've got to steer away from, but yeah, this is and I should give credit to who the game's designed by. It's designed by Volko Runke, who is very popular in the heavy board game, war game side of things. This was the predecessor, I think, to the Coin series. The Coin series has now got, I don't know, maybe a dozen or so volumes in it, maybe more. And he kicked this off. Well, he done this, and then he done the first Coin game. I don't know which one it was. Was it Distant Plane? Was it Andinibus? It was one of them, or Cuba Libre, or something like that. I've not got either of them. I've got Fire in the Lake, and I've got Colonial Twilight. Fire in the Lake, I did try and do a playthrough a little bit of, and then I got they brought a new bot out for that, and I'd like to do a playthrough of that again one day, but again, there's so much more. Colonial Twilight, I wouldn't mind having a shot at as well, because it's just a 2-player coin game. So anyway, designed by Volko Runke and the publisher GMT Games, you know, so and they obviously dealt with the expansions as well. Now, to give credit to the expansion designer, both volumes were designed by Trevor Bender, I think he done the Forever War one as well, didn't he? Yeah, and there's another one being designed, developed just now. I think it goes back earlier than 2001. I think it's going further back. I might be wrong with that, but anyway, so that's what we're going to do. Yeah, and so I'm just going to stick by playing the US and use the bot side to take care of the jihadists. Probably easier that way as well. I think I tried the US bot once, so I'm a wee bit more familiar. And when I say familiar, by the way, you know, this was a long time ago I played this game. I've been reading over the rules over the last week or so, watching some videos, trying to get back up. It's a pretty complex affair, this game, which is what I like. A lot of little things are going to try and catch me out. Hopefully they won't, but yeah. Right, now I see there was player aids. Now these player aids are this is the new bot side of things, and it's flowchart wise, but these were in the Awakening, these two, double-sided. So I see there's 2 Forever War ones, and it does say that they're, I want to say the contents, does it not say that these are updated? Contents, what's changed? Does it not give you the contents here? It must do somewhere. Game components, yeah. It says 4 double-sided player aid cards, 1 new Forever War player aid card, and 3 revised player aid cards. So my take is that this is the the new Forever War player aid card, I think. Oh, you got that right, Grant? Yeah, because that's got the Forever War events, isn't it? So this is a new card, and these are 2 of the 3 revised player aid cards, and the third one is going to be one of these 2, and one of these is going to be the Awakening one. I'm going to go by the date. Oh no, it's got up the top there. So it's got Awakening at the top there. So I'm not going to use that. I'm going to use this one. And that's... And basically, these are the events in the base game. Is that right? Yeah. And they added this to try and deal with the events better. And obviously this got released in Forever War. This wasn't in the base game. This got released in Awakening, and then it's been updated in the Forever War. Whether it's different or not. And then on this one, now where's the Awakening ones then? They must be on the back here, one of these. No? Okay. So where are the Awakening cards? Or is it all built into that? Oh yeah, it is. hang on, it's all built into that. So these will be the base cards, because the base cards will be numbered. There's the number of the cards down the left there. It's 1 to 120 will be the base set of cards, and then 121 to 240 will be the Awakening. As you can see, it ends there. And then the Forever War is on a separate play rate, and that'll be 241. Right, there's not a 241. Obviously, that card's not required to be looked at. And then 241 up to 360, and well, it only goes up to 357. And it's not got every single card on these. It's only whenever you're looking at an event, it's worthwhile having a look at these just to see if there's any special instructions. And you can see that's yeah, these are obviously US cards, and that's these are US bought instructions. And that's the reason they're numbered, because some of these are US cards and some of these are jihadist cards, and some of them are in between there. So, okay, so we've got 4 player aid cards that we're going to use. So I'm going to chuck these other 3 away. And then you've got you've still got the playbook. Yeah, I might want that. You still use the old... These are for the solo game, and this is the... Well, no, sorry, this is not the solo game. This is US operations. These are the flowcharts for the solo game and the base game, but we're not going to use these. And that's the other side of the US side of things. And then you've also got the jihadists. You know, if you were playing a 2-player game, and you know, my opponent was playing with the US, he would get this card and I would get this card. But we still need these, because I need to know what I'm going to do by using this, and also might need to look at what the jihadists can do. Again, we're not going to use that in between. That's for the bot. Is that right? Yeah, 1 player, yeah. And but these 2 sides. So you still use these. These are from the base original game. And yeah, if you want to play the Awakening or Forever War, for the Awakening, you need the base game as well. For Forever War, you need both the base game and the Awakening expansion to be able to use that, I believe. I don't think you could just use Forever War with the base game. Okay, so we've got that. That's the rules for that. So where are we? I've got the rules right. I've got some documents here. Looks like rules reference clarifications, Iran clarifications. These are dated quite a while ago though, so but I've obviously printed these out from, I think they were on BGG, so we'll try and keep an eye on that in case some things come up that, you know, Grant, always trying to get everything right, not make mistakes, but we shall see how that goes. Right, and we've got these are all the counters. Now I combined everything from the base game and Awakening, and I just put the new chits in yesterday for the Forever War, and it's just these ones here on the left. Trump tweets on. There you go. Forever War. You can see it's just in there. So there's not enough, a lot of them. So basically you just get that, and these are the decks of cards. I'm going to struggle to get all this in the box now, because I like to sleeve my cards. These were, obviously that's 2 decks, that'll be the Awakening or the base game, and that'll be the other one. And then these are the Forever War ones that I just sleeved yesterday. You get some extra player mats for certain countries, that's with the Awakening. And you get, no, that's with the base game. That's with the base game. These are additional that come with the Awakening as well. They bring in militia units, and there's some extra cells because of the training camps, I think it is. So, to start the game, all I'm going to do is shuffle up the base game deck, so 120 cards, and we'll play right through that. And I think you just play it as the base game to start with, although when I was reading this, it did seem to me that, let me just get this out again, hang on. Oh, one thing I wanted to mention. Where's the base rulebook? Well, actually it's not in the rulebook. There's a playbook as well with the base game. And then here it has the It has the card list. It's got an example of play in here, which is well worth going through. And in this one, it lists all the cards and gives a brief description of them. And there's some great designer notes in here as well by Volker Runke. And this is event card description of all the cards. So 1 to 120. Quite not huge amount of text there, but it's good to look at. I might, when these events go off, I don't know if this is maybe a bit too much, but when events go off, we might have a wee read at, because some events will not trigger, and so I might have a wee read at what it's saying here. I don't know, that might then drag things out a bit longer, but or what I might do is pause the camera and read through it myself, maybe. We'll see how that goes. So this was the base game, and unfortunately, unless I'm missing something, in the Awakening, and this was Trevor Bender's, the first expansion, it's got the card list on page 26. I want to say there's not a description. By the way, there is some a lot of designer notes. He's put a lot down here, well worth a read about how he went about the game and whatever, the expansion. So there's a lot in there to read. As you can see, we're still turning pages. And then it's just got the card list, and unfortunately no details on the cards in this one. I don't know if I was missing it. I don't think so. I don't think they're there. So it's just got the list of the cards. However, what it does with Forever War is a totally different story. So whether somebody said they'd like to know more about it or whatever, I'm not sure. But this book is 32 pages long, right? But there's an introduction, and what's changed tells you what's changed, right? That's it. And there's the sort of additional bits to take note of solitaire play. That's it. These 2 pages are the rules for the game. 32 pages long, this book, remember? Right, and then you've got some scenarios there. So there is scenarios in the base game and Awakening and this one. I just thought I'd do the campaign, and it gives a look at all the cards. So you've got a couple of scenarios there. We've got one there. No, hang on. This is just the setup, isn't it? Yeah, this is the setup. So that's a scenario, and then we've got this one: Trump takes command, Hillary wins, and then extended campaign game. This is the one I'm going to play. So we'll come back to that in a sec. This is going to allow us to set up. There's another one there: Surge the New Way Forward. So that's another scenario. And then it lists. So hang on, that's just the base cards. That's a list of the base cards. And I think it's just a list of the cards, isn't it? Is there some reason for that being there? I'm not sure. Then it goes into a little bit, first time into the maze, beginner strategy in Labyrinth Awakening by Trevor Bender. So it gives you some information there. And then got a page of designer notes. However, then on page 13 here, and this stretches right to page 32. Okay, you've got a rule of thumb on the back there, glossary, card list, right? But to page 29 from 13, these are all descriptions of the cards, of all the 120 cards, and he's put a lot of work into this, writing down what it all means, and that I think it's really good. And I'd hope to try and read through these myself when the cards are coming out. Like I say, whether I should put it on film or not, I don't know. My videos are long enough as it is, so maybe not. I might start doing it, and we'll see. Maybe if I can just quickly go over it. But me doing things quickly doesn't really compute. Okay, so can we get started, Grant? Yeah, one that I was sort of concerned about is the setup here. So it says, it says we set up as the Let's Roll scenario, which is the very first. Oh, War on Terror. Is that got... No, it's a playbook. Is the playbook got the scenarios? Well, have it. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong book. Hang on, sorry. Where are we here? Rules of play. What have I done with the playbook? Hang on. Oh, it's not in the playbook. It's actually in the rules. I mean, there's not... I mean, the base rules. There's 16 pages in this. 16 pages in this book. This is the base rules. I mean, okay, we've got the rules set up and all that. 16 pages. But... right until here, this is jihadist operations. This is when the solo bit comes in. You've got a couple of pages in that. Then you've got glossary and index, page 15. Right, so just the scenarios on the back page, yeah. So it's not enough a lot of rules, but it's a pretty beefy game, like. So there's 4 different scenarios here, but this is the main one. So this is what you do to set up. This is where the markers go, how you set the countries. It says it's September the 12th, 2001, Al-Qaeda has pulled off a devastating martyrdom operation in the United States that it hopes will light the fires of the Islamic Revolution. The US, caught off guard, has awakened and is about to respond. Yeah, so just after 9/11, and this is what's going to happen. So let's roll. So that's the setup there. Now, what I was a little bit unsure of, so it says there you set up as per let's roll, and tells you about the decks. So I'm going to use the 3 decks. So we're going to start with the first deck, right? There is an option further on there where you alternative history, where you would shuffle all the 3 decks together and just play from that. And I thought, maybe not. Maybe we'll do it in a slightly slightly historical as it all came about, and the events are going to all make sense and whatever, make a bit more sense. But see, it says here now, this isn't a normal thing that would start in the base game. It says both Mali, Muslim country, and Nigeria, non-Muslim country, begin the game as active countries and players may operate in them normally from the beginning. So that's slightly different. I mean, you wouldn't have this in the base game. So was it Mali and Nigeria in it? Because there's little mats for these. Because these aren't out there as countries. They only came in the Awakening. I think that's right. I don't think they're on the map. So it says marked events continue from one deck to the next. Ignore the new normal rule 11.35. Yeah, that new normal rule says that you're just to imagine that all these things have happened. Well, because we're going through each different scenario, like at each different deck of cards, then we're going to not do that, and we're going to use the events and we're going to mark them to say that when they've happened, and and then some jihadist personality cards such as Bin Laden and Osama Bin Laden make an appearance in multiple decks. So yeah, you might have Bin Laden in one deck and Osama Bin Laden in another deck, and so if he's been dealt with already, right, in the other deck, he's appeared again, maybe been killed or whatever. But it says if the card is removed by US play, it may appear again in its second instance and is assumed to be a rising new leader of comparable ability and focus. So you just assume it's somebody that's taken over from him that doesn't have an actual name as such. A couple other things. I suppose I should read this. This is where the Operation Neptune Spear and unconfirmed cards may be used to retrieve any unassociated jihadist personality card from either deck, not just those named on the cards. So it's going to be able to look through all 3 decks to find that. And also, it says, since there are no reshuffles after the game commences, the discard deck will become quite large. And all of these cards are available to be retrieved by events such as oil price spike. So it allows you to go through any 3 cards to bring back cards, which is what oil price spike, I think, does. I think that was one of the complaints that one of the guy HUD that sort of left, that made the comment, the thread about how he didn't feel like it worked out for them, was the fact he felt that. Somebody also commented that maybe you should only allow this oil price spike to target the deck from which it's active at the time, you know, to target the discards from there. But I don't know. Well, I'll see how I get on. It'll probably don't matter. Right, and then I read this already, I think. The Labyrinth Awakening expansion rules, play a raid card, and end the turn sequence commence with the first card draw from deck 2. And I actually thought that maybe that's when these would have came in, Nigeria and Mali, because they came in the Awakening. However, it doesn't. It does say that both Mali and Nigeria begin the game as active countries. So I think that would have been down here and told you when you moved on to deck 2 that happened. So I'm going to put them in play as well. But I mean, if I get any of this wrong, let me know. And then it says, at that moment, place an awakening marker in Algeria/Tunisia, if possible, otherwise in random Muslim country, and test if needed. Also place the Syria and Iran special case Muslim country mats and the off-map forces box on the board. Well, there you go. I mean, if it was bringing in Nigeria and Mali, surely it would have told you about that now. It's telling you that Syria, which is on the map, I think, and it's different. I think it's because it's got weapons of mass destruction, and Iran is a similar case. I want to say, if we look at Iran and Syria on the map, when it starts, or am I making that up? Is Syria not out there yet? I know it is, yeah. There's Syria there. So you can see that in the base game, Syria was that. Now, that is, let's not get that wrong. I mean, if I say anything wrong here and get anything wrong regarding some words and terms and that, hopefully I'm not going to offend anybody. So these are the religions. These are all Muslim countries, but the difference between the two, the one that's the white background is Sunni. So Sunni, and it's a Muslim country, and the one with the green background is Shia mix. Iran is a special case. It's got the red one, and then these other ones are just non-Muslim countries with a star, right? So yeah, Syria starts in the base game like this, but when Awakening comes in, and maybe it's years later, you change it up for this. So that won't happen until we move on to deck 2. And what it is the you can see the skull and crossbones there. It means that they've got some weapons of mass destruction. So, and again, my history is not going to be great about understanding when these things all happened and that. You'll just need to, you can follow along that with yourself. But obviously they didn't have weapons of mass destruction, and then later years they've got, I think they get one of the counters. And it's same for Iran. Iran starts like that, and Iran, I think when you start with the Awakening, deck 2, that's going to go like that. Now you can see Iran can actually become, it can turn into a Muslim country. It's although it's Muslim, is it? It says Iran, it's a special case. I think it talks about it somewhere. But anyway, it can become just a Shia mix Muslim country. Like that, by flipping it over, you know. So that's why they're there. And then, yeah, Mali and Nigeria are not on the map, are they? So I think you're meant to put them, I want to see you're meant to maybe put them down here somewhere, which is a bit annoying because I think that's where you generally play the cards. But I don't know if it matters. I mean, I could probably put one of them there and one of them in a space somewhere. I don't know. I'll see where it says you're meant to put them on the Awakening rules. Okay, so where was I? Yeah, so the fact that tells you that Syria and Iran come in when deck 2 starts, but it doesn't tell you that about Mali and Nigeria. So it must mean that they start from the beginning and can be used just as normal. So that's a slight change. And then place 3 weapons of mass destruction in their respective spaces. And Syria 2, so Syria get 2 and Iran gets 1. If more than 6 WMD are required because some have already been made available from the CTR countries, use the extra provided in the Awakening expansion. Yeah, so, okay. And then, and then it finishes there with Iran can be subject of a regime change anytime it is a regular Muslim country and as an Islamic rule, and the US complies with the restrictions in 15.2.2.1. Obviously, it's quite hard to achieve that if I was going by my reading, but that's where Iran can be flipped over, like we say, I think. Okay, and then, right, victory conditions now. We'll need to take note of this, but, obviously this is just for this campaign. It says normal victory condition rules apply. Yeah, in fact, that's all I'm going to read, because there's an optional thing there. Now, whether we want to consider having that in place as well, in case the game happens to end really quick and I make some blunder that... It says, this optional one says, if both players agree at the beginning of the scenario, play can continue even after one player has achieved a level of victory, so the full game can be experienced. Yeah, I mean, I suppose maybe I should consider this, because I want to enjoy the full game experience, you know. So it says, in this case, victory is instead determined at the end of play, with the winner being the player who was able to complete the greatest variety of his 3 victory conditions at any point during play. So you've got 3 ways you can win. Either player's got 3 ways that they can win. And what this is saying is, like, if you don't have this optional rule, whenever one player achieves one of the conditions, the game ends. So what this is saying is, play the game to completion, and whoever's completed more of their 3 victory conditions becomes the winner. So if I've completed 2 out of the 3 and he's only completed 1 out of the 3, then I would then be the winner. So I don't know. Yeah, I'm not quite sure. The game, you know, I'll maybe take that on board if it happens very quick, that the jihadists roll me over and like completely will achieve a victory condition like within the first, you know, few turns or something like that, and then it'd be a bit silly not to do that, and then we'll just carry on. Thing is that it would mean that then that condition could be taken away from them, and it's only going to count at the end of the game, isn't it? Which is a bit as well. Right, anyway, okay. Right, that's all we need to read from there, okay? Right, so a quick introduction to the game. This is from the base game rules. So, introduction. Labyrinth is a 1 to 2 player card-driven board game simulating at the strategic level the ongoing bid by Islamic extremists to impose their brand of religious rule on the Muslim world. In a 1-player game, the player portrays the United States and its allies battling the extremist jihad struggle, i.e. holy war. In a 2-player game, the second player takes on the role of the jihadist. Now, this was the base game, like I said. With the Awakening game, you were then able to play either... in the 1-player game, you could play either as the United States or you could play as a jihadist, and there's a US bot as well. So, what are we trying to do? And I'll struggle to work out what I should be doing. Strategy-wise, I'm not going to have a clue. I'm really not going to have much of a clue what I'm doing. And this is one of these games that you could get better and better at by playing over. Well, you can say that about every game, couldn't you? But more experience playing it is going to let you know what you should be doing and whatever. So it says the US side seeks to improve governance in Muslim countries so that jihadism is cut off at its roots, or at least to eliminate the extremist fighters that pose the immediate threat. The jihadist side seeks to re-establish the Islamic caliphate of old, or to damage the US severely that it withdraws from the Muslim world. In pursuit of these goals in the game, players use strategy cards to undertake operations or cause events to happen. Hand of cards in Labyrinth simulates roughly a year. Specific game terms found in the glossary on pages 14 and 15 are shown in bold. The first few times they appear in this rulebook. I don't think I need to read any more there. It was just to really give you an idea of what we're trying to do here. And we do need to carry on to find out how to win, right? So let's try and grasp this. Now, hang on, there is a slight difference when it comes to the solo side, isn't it? Well, let's look at how to win. This is for the 2-player. I'll go at the solo rules in a second. So each side can win in 3 different ways. US victory. US wins the instant that Muslim countries with a total of at least 12 resources have good governance. Or, and the second possibility is at least 15 of 18 Muslim countries have fair or good governance. Or, the third one is there are no jihadist cells in any countries on the map. So that's the 3 different ways that the US can win. Like I say, there's some slight change to these in the solo side because I think there was probably ways of being able to, I don't know, make it an easy victory or something. So jihadist victory. The jihadists win the instant Islamist rule governs countries totaling at least 6 resources that include at least 2 adjacent countries. I want to say that's maybe one of the things, the adjacent country bit that's different in the solo. Or the second way of winning is US prestige is 1 and at least 15 Muslim countries have poor Islamic rule governance. Or the third one, a weapon of mass destruction is resolved in the United States without being countered, such as by an alert. So that's the 3 different ways either side can win. Right, however, when we jump to rule 9, which is on page 12 here, and bear in mind that it's saying jihadist activities because you can only, in the base game, you can only play as the US, so there's only one bot. But I want to see these conditions will be the same. Let me just double check that in a second. I figured this would probably go an hour. We'll not even put any counters on the map of that yet as well. So this is just looking at how to win here. So elimination of the last cell does not cause a US win. Continue play. So Islamist rule. So hang on. So it said back there. It said that if we eliminate the last cell, we win. Well, that's not the case in the solo game. It says Islamist rule over 6 or more resources results in a jihadist win regardless of adjacency. Yeah, I said that. So adjacency doesn't matter. And then if the game ends via reshuffle, which means once you get to the end of the deck, you shuffle the deck, and if there's not any more deck to shuffle, that's the end of the game. It says the US loses a 1-deck game. Yeah, sorry, it's telling you depending on how many decks you've got. We're going to play with 3 decks, remember. So US loses a 1-deck game if fewer than 6 resources are good, loses a 2-deck game if fewer than 9, and a 3-deck game if fewer than 12. So that's when you play the game out. So so slight difference there. They had 2 conditions. One is so that means that the US player only has 2 winning conditions then, does he not? Because it said there are no jihadist cells in any countries on the map, and that says elimination of the last cell does not cause a US win. Continue play. Okay, that's a bit strange then, because that means they can't win that way. And that means they've only got 2 win conditions where the jihadists have 3. Am I missing something there? Maybe, I don't know. Okay, so let's have a quick look at the Awakening solo side of thing. Well, in fact, no, hang on. Let's see if there's any differences in the Awakening rules. Remember, there's not an awful lot of rule changes in Forever War. Hang on. Right, so interesting. Here's the Awakening rules. So if you're playing as a jihadist bot, which is what we're going to play, it says use the victory conditions of a 1-player game 9.1. That's what I just had read, that one there. So it seems to take that win condition away, as in eliminating on the cells. And then if you move on, obviously this is when the US bot comes into it. And that says use the victory conditions of a 2-player game, 2.0. So that was the first set of rules that we read about how to win for the 2-player game. So that does take all these into consideration. Because you're playing as a jihadist this time. So the US can win that way by eliminating all the cells. Or if there's no cells in any countries on the map. So that's a wee bit different. But we're not going to be doing that. So yeah, I think there's not any difference there. Okay. And then in the Forever War rules, I don't think there's anything that changes. What's changed? New rules. There's 2 or 3 little things. I don't think there's any change to how you win. So the slight changes there to solitaire play. But there's quite a few changes in Awakening that we're going to bring in when we get to the second deck. And these rules, my guess is, you can see that's all there is, just the 3 rules there. They're not going to come in until the third deck. So it's regarding placing plots, placing and removing markers, placing advisors. And I think it's just where to go to try and find where to look to find the priorities in that, I think. Okay, right, let's get set up. One other thing I wanted to look at was about, what is it? Nigeria and Mali. So they come in with Awakening. So, where does it tell me about that? Right, hang on till I find this. Right, so here's an Awakening where it tells you about Mali and Nigeria. Because I'm going to have to, my take is we're going to have to set this up from the start. And that's the only thing we're doing from the Awakening until we get to the Awakening deck, which is deck 2. So, Mali begins play with the following characteristics: resource level 1, Sunni Muslim country, adjacent to Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, and Nigeria. Okay, so can I just put it over there? Maybe there's. I think it tells you on the thing what it's adjacent to, which that's relevant. You can see that all these lines. I mean that Morocco's adjacent to Algeria, Tunisia is adjacent to Libya. That's what these lines are, adjacency. Obviously, when you put this in, you can't draw new lines in, so it tells you they're adjacent to Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, and Nigeria. I can't really put it there. So I think does it suggest where you're meant to put these? Country mats. 4 countries are represented by country mats specified below. Since the lapsing boxes will be taken up by 2 of these country mats. Does it tell you? I just told you at the end there, Grant. Mat is placed in the first lapsing box. So basically, you've got 2 lapsing boxes there. So you're meant to put that in there. I'd like to have the cards here though. So the first pot box, you don't need that when you're playing solo, I want to say. Is that right? Yeah, I don't think you need that when you're playing solo. Well, certainly solo again when you're playing as the US. Whether you would need it as if you were playing with you might need it if you're playing with a US bot. So could I put Mali in there then, maybe? And it goes, it's only got one way up anyway. And so Mali begins play with the following characteristic: resource level 1, and that's what that is. It's a resource of 1. It's a sunny, I think it tells you there, Sunni Muslim country, yeah. And it's adjacent to Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, and Nigeria. Matt is placed in the first lapsing box. I'm going to put it there just now, because I'd like to keep that for maybe the cards. Or some card plays or something. And then it tells us about Nigeria. So we'll get there. So Nigeria begins play as a poor non-Muslim country, orange background. Right, so it's got a red. Well, sorry, I would just say that's red. Right, that's the orange background there. Poor non-Muslim country, is it? Yeah, okay. Unless scenario rules specify otherwise, it flips to a resource level 2 oil exporter, sunny Muslim country with poor governance, neutral alignment, remove any posture marker after resolving a level 2 or 3 or WMD plot in the country. That's when it would flip to that, right? But it's going to start that way. Nigeria is adjacent to Mali, Sudan, and Kenya, Tanzania. Its country map is placed in the second lap symbol and flips back to non-Muslim side once its alignment is ally and there are no cells in country, which will also end any civil war regime change currently in effect there, and remove all markers and pieces. If Nigeria is at different governance level than poor when it flips back to a non-Muslim country, it retains that current level as a non-Muslim country, place a governance marker there, but no further adjustments to it are possible unless it becomes a Muslim country again, right? And it's got some design notes there that I won't go into that sort of tells you a bit about it. So yeah, I mean, maybe I'm going to have to use the boxes then. And I could maybe just put it there right enough. It's adjacent to, well, it's adjacent to that. It's adjacent to Mali. It's adjacent to Sudan. Yeah, I can maybe get away with it there. We'll put it there, right? Okay. It's kind of in the way. But things are going to go on the board there anyway. It's like all space where to put things here. I like to show things in the rule books as well when I'm doing things. Right, okay, that was that's only set up. Right, hang on. Let's get the campaign game. No, it's not from that. It's extended campaign game, isn't it? So yeah, so set up where let's roll. Yeah, that's all I need to do. I just need to set up. That was just that additional bit that's different to the setup here. Okay, so we're going to set these things up, right? And I'm just going to do this off camera, but just briefly look at what well, I suppose I could do it on camera, right? Right, well, I'm going to need some markers. Let me get the markers out first. Right, so I think I've got all the counters out that I need. So, first of all, our prestige starts at 7. So this is a prestige track here. We start at 7. This is quite good because you get that's a +1 modifier to your war ideas dice rolls. So that's good, but I won't stay there for long. But hopefully it will. Right, Global War on Terror track. The US is hard and the world is hard 1. So the US is in here hard to start with, and the world is also the same as the US, and that's kind of how you want to keep it. When we were playing as the US, remember? So we want to stay the same. If the world goes soft, then we would either want to be soft or get the world back to hard to match. You don't want to be against the different from the world anyway. These are just my takes on things, but not how I'm seeing it anyway. Right, troops low intensity. Okay, and I think there's 4 troops in play, so well, let's just follow on with that. So here's the troops track up here. So the troops marker goes in the low intensity. I know that there's, so you put 5 troops in each of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the overstretched bit, and you can see that this would allow only a 7 card draw. This is allowed 8 cards, and this is 9 cards. So we're going to start with 9 cards. There's 5 in there as well, and because there's 4 troops starting the map, there's only 1 that goes in here. Yeah, okay. Let's put them down a bit. I don't want to cover up the thing, right? So that's where it starts there, and it's wherever that marker. If I think if that troop goes away, it goes down to there, isn't it? Something like that. I'm going to be looking up as I'm going along. Right, I know for a fact that there's 4 troops on the maps, so there should normally be 5 in there as well. There's 15 in total, and there's 15 cells as well. Right, the next one is the funding, which is 9. So this is jihadist funding. It's just the track below there, and it starts at 9 right up at the top. And same again, you get, it's the same thing. You get 5 cells in there, that's the ample box. Although I'm saying it's the same thing, they kind of go the other way, so they're starting there. So they're going to get 9 cards as well. 5 in there. And how many is, I think there's only 4 cells. I think it's something similar, the 4 cells and 4 troops out in the map. And we've got 4 cells that'll go on the map as well. Okay, that's that. Where are we down to now? So, and then we've got these tracks. Right, I'm going to have to move things along here. That's the thing. It's not going to be easy to show all this, I think. Right, well, I'll just read it off for what we're doing here. Here's the tracks that track all the resources, etc. So the good resources start at 0. There's no good resources, so there's a marker for that. And remember, one of the conditions, I can't remember. I'm going to have to keep an eye on the victory conditions and make sure. I mean, it does tell you on here how you can win, I think. But I'll need to brush myself up on that, because it's quite important to know what you're trying to achieve. But anyway, good resources start at 0. Is that Islamic resources start at 1. We'll see that where that comes from in a minute. It comes from Afghanistan. And then fair good countries start at 3. So fair good start at 3, and poor Islamist rule countries start at 4. So I think there's 3 poor and 1 Islamist rule, making it 4 in total. Okay. That's that. Now the reserves markers in the base game. Oh, that's going to be an interesting one. Well, no, because you're using the new solo rules, the solo ball grant, so that's fine. Because in the base game, the jihadist player wouldn't get reserves. They didn't build that in, and then the Awakening actually brought that in and found a way of doing it. And it was a big change to the way that the jihadist player, whenever it was an unassociated event, he would play the event and also get the operations as well, which seemed pretty brutal. But now what he does is he gets the event and then he stores the operations value in the reserves, which seems a bit fairer, to be honest. So that they go there. Now, 2 little counters that I'm probably not going to use, because it's way up the top. Yeah, I'm definitely not going to use this. Any playthroughs you look at, I don't think people use this. So what you're meant to do is the jihadist player starts first, so you're meant to put that card 1, turn over his card. Once you're done with his card, you're meant to stretch up here and move that up to card 2, do that, then move on to the US card 1, then move on to US card 2, and then resolve the pots, and then go back to beginning again. But yeah, I'm not going to stretch up and do that. It's unlikely. Decks, we're playing with a 3 deck game, so it's the longest game, but we're going to play one of each era, if you like. And that's that. Okay, so then we've got, right, quick look at that, and then I'll just put them on. So you can see Libya starts poor adversary, Syria fair adversary, Iraq poor adversary, Saudi Arabia poor ally with 2 troops in it, Gulf States fair ally 2 troops, Pakistan fair neutral, Afghanistan Islamist rule adversary and 4 cells, and Somalia's got a besieged regime marker in it. So let me put these out. So Libya's poor adversary. Let me find these things. There we go. Right. So poor adversary. And Syria's fair adversary. So fair adversary. Iraq's poor adversary. Where are you? Saudi Arabia is poor ally. Saudi Arabia is poor ally, but has 2 troops. Yeah. And Gulf States is fair ally with 2 troops. Gulf States, fair ally and 2 troops. Pakistan is fair neutral. Oops. Fair neutral. They should. Why is it not telling me to put them in? Fair neutral. Oh wait now. I'll go back to maybe there's some other bit, and then well, not finally. Afghanistan is Islamic's rule adversary with 4 cells. So Afghanistan is Islamic's rule adversary, and that's where the 4 cells are. That's where the bad things are happening. And that's probably where the US are. Well, that's where the US are heading and whatever. And then finally, Somalia's got a Baziz regime marker in it, which allows a better chance of a major jihad in the country and taking over Islamist rule. Okay. Just finding out about the. I think the weapons matter, or do they not go in there until Pakistan becomes? I'm not sure. Hang on a second. Yeah, so just looking at the beginning, set up, choose a side, set up markers, troops and sleeper cells is listed, arrange the troops. Yeah, I've done all that. It didn't actually tell you that in that, but there we go. So page 2 of the base game rules. Place 3 WMD plot markers in each of the 2 WMD plot holding boxes. Right, so there should be 6. And then let me find them. Right, so there's 6 WMD plot markers. So place the 3 WMD plot markers, each of the 2 WMD plot holding boxes. 4.7.81. Right, okay. Keep WMD plot markers that are not yet available in the loose nuke and Pakistan arsenal holding boxes. Right, okay, so there's 3 of them going here. I don't know if they go that way up or not. They've got plot on the other side, but they're not in play as of yet. And then 3 go in the. Yeah, it's loose. This box here. Right, they come into play when the event happens. I think they come into play when Pakistan maybe becomes Islamist rule then, possibly. Yeah, it tells you here, when an event makes a WMD plot marker available, place a marker from the loose nuke HEU and Kazakh strain box into the available plots box face down. Yeah, and then, well, we'll get to that. These are available plots. I'll get to that in a second. And then Pakistan, it says, when Pakistan first comes under Islamist rule, so we want to try and avoid that, place the 3 WMD plot markers from the Pakistan arsenal box in the available plot box. So, yeah. And obviously, if you're playing as a jihadist player and you've got WMD plots available, one of your win conditions is to put one of them in the US if you can and end the game. Hopefully the US player doesn't remove it, disable it, whatever it is the thing is. But I think as the bot, I want to say you're going to randomize which plot is there, so it might be a WMD if they're available. Right now they're not available, but if they become available, they'll all get mixed up, and I think you randomly put one out, so you're not going to know. Nobody's going to know what's what. So no, it should be 6 then, right? There we go. Right, okay. So that was that. And then coming back to the setup there, where were we? Yeah, place a number of plot markers face down in the available plots box. and then play Spare, Regime Change, Aid, Besiege Regime, Cadre Event, and first plot markers aside. Yeah, I've got them aside. Right, so there's six of these. These have all got different number on the back, so I'm not going to look at them. I might just roll a dice. I've not looked. I've flipped them all over there now, so don't know which one's which, but maybe it comes to place one. I'll roll one of the D6s and pick whatever the result comes up, just in case. Remove any cards that are specified by the scenario, then shuffle the remainder to create a face down draw deck. Place it near the map with room for a discard pile next to it. Okay. Okay. 120 cards, the base deck, all shuffled up. Took a wee while there to get that done. So there'll be a discard pile. Some cards get removed completely though, don't they? And then discard pile is relevant because some cards allow you to bring back from the discard pile. And now I'm going to have my cards. The bot just has the cards and we just flip one over. So they start with 9 cards. I'm just going to flip the top one over, carry it out, then the second one, carry it out, and then we get a shot. Okay, is there any more to do? Yeah. Remove any cards. Yeah, we're not removing any cards. Shuffle the remainder, create a face down, draw deck, place it near the map with room for a discard pile next to it. Okay. Then we deal the players the number of cards indicated by the troops and funding tracks. It's 9. There's going to be 9 cards each. Their funding's at 9, which means they draw 9 cards. Our troops is at low. Low intensity, and we draw 9 cards as well. So we're going to draw 9 cards, and begin play with the Jihadist action phase. Yeah, just like double check the solo side of things there, just in case. When sequence of play. Yeah, it says deal the Jihadist cards as a face down pile, and it says playing, removing, or adding cards from or to the top. Inspect them only to implement the Intel Community or FSB events. After resolving, we shuffle the Jihadist hand. It says an example. An event instructions to take a random Jihadist card would take the top Jihadist card. Yeah, so it just takes the card off the top. And then, so we're going to get 9 cards each. I'm going to deal them out, and then I'm just going to close this video off. So let me just grab a pile here. And I think I should deal them sort of, one to him, one to me sort of thing. Right, so 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7, 8, 8, 9, 9. Right, so these are my ones. Put these back on top, and that's his. Which I'll put in there just now. Let's see. Yeah, I suppose if I turn 2 over into there, and then as long as there's 2 in there, then I move them in the discard. That works. Yeah. And I've got my cards here, which we'll look at. We don't look at these, we just turn the top one over and then follow the instructions, the flowcharts and priority tables and whatever. There's a lot to go through. Now, I believe there's a digital version of this game now, officially, isn't there? You can play on your computer on Steam, I think, and probably can play on your devices, your phone and tablets and that. These things they're just not for me. I played computer games throughout my youth. I was quite into that at the time, and then I found board games. So whether I've went a different way from what normal people maybe do, play board games and then move on to computer games, I've done it the other way about. But there's that many board games now. It's so big, and I just get so much and the digital, playing these games digitally is fine if you're into all that, and you might sort of say, well, it takes care of all this flowcharts and bots and looking through priorities. I love that. I that's what I enjoy. I don't know why. I was listening to a bit of podcast stuff the other day, and it got brought up that, I think most people prefer bot systems that are simple and whatever, but it was talked about John Butterfield's systems, enemy action systems, just like big thick rule books full of instructions about how to deal with AI. I just love that. Give me a complex AI. I'm probably in the minority there, but I know some like that as well. Another thing I was going to say, although there's a digital version of this game that you can play, there's also, I believe, an app that can take care of the bot here for you. So I could just flip a card, I think probably input the card number into the bot, and it'll tell me what the bot's going to do. And that's great, and it's great for a lot of people out there. It's just not for me. I want to work this out myself. And hopefully it'll make me understand why the bot's doing these things as well, to some extent anyway, and to see if it does anything silly. Now it gets to cheat a little bit. Like I say, one of the major ones in the base game with the first bot was that it got to do the two things when it was an unassociated card. Got to do the event and use the ops for the number for the operations, which was, but it does do something. It never plays a US event. It's never going to trigger a US event. Now, if I play a jihadist card, it will trigger the jihadist event. So they're the two big things. But remember, it's a bot. It's not getting to think about it too much. We're getting to think more about it, and should be able to deal with it slightly better. But anyway, yeah. But there's an app out there to run it for you if you want. And if you don't even want to set this up on the table, just go and buy the digital version and play on your computer. Yeah, I mean, that's if you're into that sort of thing. I want it on the table with that. I want to feel the components and try and work it out myself. Okay, an hour and 12 minutes. Yeah, I figured we would get to an hour anyway. So I'll stop that. I will leave a comment, like I say, that this is just set up and talking about the game, and probably me going on too much about it. And but I'm going to come straight back, hopefully, and start our first turn. Now, yeah, okay. I'll be back shortly. Cheers.